What's a secret you'll never tell your partner but are willing to tell strangers on Reddit? I hate his mother. My best friend is a badger and I feed him sweet corn every morning at 5:20 a.m. I'm really tired of everything. I can't remember the last time I was genuinely happy more than just an in-the-moment feeling due to something happening. My default emotion is just depressed/tired. I really can't stand his best friend's wife. He has been so happy to have his best friend in his life. It's a relatively new relationship, but man, I just can't stand her. I'm very introverted and when we've hung out just the two of us, it's her talking non-stop for hours straight. She's a one-upper, she makes passive-aggressive remarks all the time, is very dramatic, is a pick-me girl, and just leaves me feeling drained. But husband is so happy to have his friend in his life. Friend is a good guy and they get along so well. I love that my husband is happy and I don't want him feeling upset about my feelings when we're all together. But man, I just wish she'd STFU for like 5 minutes because damn. Who wants to admit they ate 9 cans of ravioli? That she is far more similar to her mother and sisters than she would want to believe. What I actually paid for my woodworking tools. If not for my partner and my family, I would have killed myself a long time ago. They are literally what I live for, and I can't tell them that because they would worry about me so much. Edit, I am not actively suicidal, and I will not harm myself in the foreseeable future. The time I had intercourse with a snowman in a ditch behind my house. Though it was innocent, it's not something I'd talk about with anyone except the thousands of Redditors and millions people who saw the story I posted about it that someone put on YouTube. Anyway, I guess I could tell it again. So, I believe it was March 1993 and a huge blizzard swept the East Coast. I was young, bored and extremely horny. I didn't know then what exactly it was that I was feeling but knew that it was normal for my age. Well, we were out of school for what must have been 3 weeks but felt like an eternity. I wasn't around anyone my age, there were no girls in my neighborhood and obviously no internet for browsing of a certain kind, but even if there was, I'd definitely be too afraid to attempt it. One evening before dark, I decided enough was enough and I couldn't handle the urge anymore. I had been holding back for weeks because I was too embarrassed to do anything in the bathroom. The guilt and anxiety of someone catching me was too much. My room wasn't an option because the door didn't lock and when my door was shut someone would ask why or just open it. It was far too risky and I couldn't jeopardize my reputation of being the only normal one in my family. I threw on my snow clothes and scuttled off into the wilderness behind my house and I had a plan. I wasn't sure I'd actually do it but I wasn't exactly thinking straight either, for obvious reasons. Once I arrived at my destination I decided to slide down into a gully that was about 15 feet deep. I sat there for a few minutes and listened for footsteps in case someone saw me, but it was silent, completely silent, where I could almost hear my inner voice say, "Don't do it, man. This is the moment of no return," I told myself. I was like a runaway train never going back, wrong way on a one-way track. Anyway, I got to work and started shaping snow into a female body. She had boobs, curves, and the necessary inlet. I unzipped and went ahead with the task that lay before me and within a minute or so it was all over. A few seconds of guilt and shame overcame me as I zipped up and erased the evidence. I crawled out of the gully back through the woods into my house. I went to my room and tried my best to forget her, but to my surprise that would be impossible and every time it snows, I still think of her. I shit my pants 2 days ago. The wholesome answer? That our youngest son's first word wasn't mama. She was having a busy time at work and already felt guilty about not being home as much. Naturally he spent most time with me so his first word was papa. I kept my mouth shut and waited until he said mama and celebrated that as his first word. When he was away for work for 4 months, and I was working full-time and single parenting and depressed AF, one morning I hurried our kid, 3, out to the car before daycare with my hands full of stuff. I put everything in the car, put it in gear, and looked over my shoulder to back up. I backed up 2 feet and hit the brakes. I didn't put our kid in the car, I was looking at an empty car seat. My toddler was standing beside his door on the passenger side waiting for me, and now he was crying cause he thought I was ditching him. If I hadn't looked over my shoulder, I could have run over our kid. Blame sleep deprivation and all the other shit going on, but mom guilt still eats me alive when I think about those 2 feet. And my husband will never know because I don't ever want him to think I'm a bad mom, or know exactly how bad it was for me while he was away. TLDR, almost ran over my own kid. I have been molested 4 times by 4 different old guys, and I am male. I make a shitload of gibberish vocalizations when I'm home alone. No fucking clue why, just some weird fake language I've been spewing since childhood. Edit, transliteration attempt. Asterisk sabio en iontis kartesh kitavan. Sargo ketsiva, prayish. Asterisk. This kind of shit, constantly, in a sort of Russian/Arabic hybrid intonation. Almost entirely meaningless and 90% improvised apart from a few words that have attached themselves to specific objects/emotions over the years. Edit, you sure you're not a sim? Not sure at all. Like we know that reality/perception is just electrical signals in the synapses of our brains, how do we know they're not just neural nets in someone's instance of Earth simulator? My brain tells me to talk gibberish when I'm alone, WTF is that? So yeah, prob a sim. Using my alt because she follows my main account. My girlfriend of 5 years has been deaf since she was 6. She reads lips pretty well, but prefers sign language. I didn't know a single sign when I met her, but I could tell right away there was something between us so I started learning after I got home from our first date. Fast forward a few years, I'm now fluent in ASL and we use it to talk almost exclusively. When she's not looking though, I talk to her even though she can't hear me or see my lips to read. I tell her how much I love her, how I'm going to marry her someday, how beautiful she is, etc. I've even been practicing proposing, so it's not so terrifying when I actually do it. She has no idea and I plan to keep it that way. Sometimes when we play Mario Kart, I pretend to fail at the end so she can win. No me but my friend. So his wife was really sick but was also extremely stubborn and religious. She believed that God will heal her, so he came to me and asked for a few of my sleeping pills. They're really strong and get you into a deep sleep quickly. So puts the pills in her drink. Like clockwork, in 30 minutes she's out cold. He then asks me to help him get her to hospital. Next morning she wakes up in the hospital. Good thing too, course on top of that sickness she had stage 1 cancer. She survived and it's all good now. But he made me swear I don't tell her what we did. I've been so depressed lately. I do not like my job. I have crippling anxiety driving into work every day. I'm in 6-figure debt so I can't leave. I can't provide the life my family deserves and it's only going to get tighter in coming months. I cry most days. My wife and son are the only things in my life keeping me going. They do make me happy though it's a sad happy because I feel like I'm letting them down. My wife knows I'm not myself but I won't tell her how bad things are. I know it will get better but it's very hard right now. Edit. Thank you all for your words of encouragement. I will talk with my wife tonight and we'll try to come up with a plan. Not quite sure how, but she is going to get her husband back and my son is getting his dad back. I am terrified that my partner will die because I know I am not really a functional adult outside of my work. I am good for playing with the kids, bringing in a decent income and making food, but the idea of single parenting and taking care of everything fills me with existential dread I have a hard time describing. I dropped the diaper rash cream container on our daughter's head when she was like 8 days old. She let out this scream that still haunts me. When he came in the room to see what happened I lied and said I just dropped the lid on her. I faked the first 6 orgasms with her. I just wasn't going to come due to anxiety but I knew she'd be so self-conscious to the point of dumping me if I didn't. So I pulled out and came in a towel or sock. Eventually I got there with her after the nerves calmed but I'm taking that secret to the fucking grave LMAO. Edit. One time I even prepped a towel by squirting some lotion in it and showed her how much she made me come because I'm a liar and a freak. The iron bar in the garage isn't a pry bar, it's a manhole cover remover and I have explored and will explore more. 15 years ago I had a new medication that did not mix well with alcohol. I had a party with friends, we decided to go out in town. Next thing I remember I woke up in a cell at the police station stripped down to my undies. It turned out I took a taxi, instead of going home I went to my mother's street. Apparently I was lucid enough to remember her street, but not her house and ended up in her neighbor's backyard doing enough noise to wake him up. In the end I got a $400-ish fine and a tremendous amount of shame. I'm disabled, he works, and brings home the bag. We do get disability pay, so it's still 2 incomes. I mostly clean, but my health gets in the way a lot. But man, I don't think I can ever tell him just how guilty I feel over my inability to consistently contribute. I hate that my disability and health overshadow some days. He gets home from work, and the minute he sees how sick I feel that day he drops everything and ignores his own exhaustion to fuss over me. He should be able to come home to a meal cooked and a relaxing night of sitting on his ass before the next day of work. Sometimes he does get that, but a lot of times it's just us making food together and cuddling and gaming rather than me being able to take care of him. I hate it deeply. Edit. I honestly expected this to get buried LMFAO. Yes, I have talked to him about it a bit, just not about how often I feel guilty or how deeply I feel it. I do my best to make up for it on my good days. He has no problems with helping me out. At the end of the day, it's my mindset that needs working on.